We're taking a closer look to that new Prime Minister Trudeau legislation about gun. We know that Bill C-71 has been adopted way ago, so a couple months ago, but we had a complete application right now on the spot of that law, and we're seeking for common sense in it, in the way they listed the guns, the firearms. Actually, what Prime Minister Trudeau says as a first thing, we will ban the firearms that have been developed to kill people or developed for military use. So I'll introduce you someone, but let me speak out on front first and telling you we have 8 rifles on the table. Actually, we will present you these rifles. 2 of these are on the banned list. Actually, all the other ones are not. Let's sort them. Patrick Daigle, which is a former military weapon tech and now gunsmith, civilian gunsmith. Patrick, you had to work with these guns in your career, military career and civilian career.
Yep,
I want you to sort them by why have they been made and how have they been used, each and every one of these, and we'll see at the end which one are on that list or not. Remember, the first criteria was guns that were made to kill people and developed for and by military will be banned. The other one, no.
Yep. Martin, first of all, I want to say to everybody that we're not seeking to find new rifles or new guns to put on that list. It's not the point. The point is to show people that, show the viewers that it's a nonsense.
There's no common sense in that.
No. Okay. That being said, I will show you some of the rifles that we have here actually were basically, and their first point was for war.
Yeah.
They were developed and made to be given to servicemen all over the world in order to go to war.
Yeah.
And none of them's been thought, it's been designed for a hunting purpose. They were made for war, which means kill people.
First one?
First one, the SVT-40, which is a Russian rifle, semi-automatic Russian rifle, developed mid-30s, in use by the Russian army from the beginning till the end of the war, Second World War. Now we get to see them from time to time into hunters' hands.
Actually, it's a legal hunting caliber and rifle.
It's legal. The caliber is legal for big game hunting in Canada. I mean, it's over 6 millimeter in diameter for the bullets, and it's this one caliber is pretty much the same as the 303 British caliber, right?
But Russian one. That is,
it's a Russian
this
version.
One is also, let's take a closer look, it's a semi-automatic.
Yeah, it's semi-automatic, gas-operated rifle.
Made for and used
for war.
In war.
Yeah, developed and made and given to
soldiers
to go at war.
Lee Enfield, we know this one.
Yeah, those I've got 2 of them here. 2 different models, but same caliber and everything. Those 2 are the Enfield 303 British. They were designed and made for war.
Yeah, and used in it.
Oh yeah, used at large. Actually, all the Commonwealth countries used that rifle as the service rifle for
bolt action rifles.
Yeah, bolt action rifles.
Clip magazine.
Some came with a bayonet.
That is made for assault. This is what assault means.
This goes like that. I won't clip it or anything, but
by the way,
actually it's on bayonet.
By the way, in the same nonsense, when Prime Minister Trudeau refers to assault weapon, if you take a closer look in Canadian firearm regulation paperwork, not only it is not present as a term, but there's a phrase on that.
There's a line.
There's a sentence on that word.
There's a line in that that's saying that an assault weapon is not a recognized term for a firearm.
Yeah, it is not recognized as a legal designation in Canadian firearm regulation. This is, Mr. Prime Minister, your own legislation.
Yeah. This is a firearms, an arm, a weapon, right?
Yeah.
This is my fist.
Yeah.
If I smack your nose with it,
it is a weapon.
no, it's an assault. An assault, it's an act. It's something that
yeah.
you do. Like a rock. If I throw you a rock, does it becomes, it stays a rock. I mean, it's not an assault rock. An assault, it's something that you do. Okay. The fourth one is the model.
Well known.
Oh yeah.
8mm Mauser.
The model 98 in 8mm Mauser. It's been developed, designed, and produced only, at first, only for German soldiers.
Yeah, war purposes.
The only purpose of that rifle was to fight against
the enemy,
the German enemies.
Yeah.
Okay, it's an internal magazine, bolt action, and everything. I'm pretty sure everybody knows or have an idea. But I mean, it's a common rifle, and it's commonly used
for hunting now.
Yeah, because some companies now make one-piece scope mount and all kinds of accessories, aftermarket stock for it.
To sportize it.
Yeah, to sportize it, but it's a very good black bear and deer size game
as a
rifle.
first one, it's a caliber that actually is legal for big game hunting in Canada.
Yep. Okay.
So it can take down an animal.
But it was never designed back in the 40s or the 30s when it was made and produced. It was never intended to be used as a sporting rifle.
It is a soldier rifle.
Yeah,
a military rifle.
Military issued rifle.
Back in America.
Oh yeah, this one it's a Garand M1.
Yep.
This one was made more popular
pretty heavy.
Pretty heavy. It was made popular by a Saving Private Ryan's movie.
Yep.
But basically, it's a semi-auto that was introduced in the at the beginning of the Second World War II.
Caliber, please.
30-06.
Ah.
30-06.
Okay, so the main North American,
the most
overall
used caliber in the world.
That made the Garand M1 a pretty suitable hunting weapon, actually.
Actually, Martin, rifle. I used it to kill a few deers with it because that was the only rifle I had at the time, and I had some ammo left, and I needed to feed my family. So, yeah, I used it. I've got a couple of pictures of that.
Remember, we are just defining what is a firearm that has been developed for military, not pointing at them, just making clear the nonsense of what has been told and what has been done on that list.
Yeah, because all those 5.1 were made
exclusively.
Their sole purpose was to go at war and win the war or kill the enemy or whatever.
And has the power to do so.
Yeah. This one. Oh, that's my wife's favorite one. It's her gun.
This is like the best example, but it's a kind of hybrid between the basically made for and the basically not made for, because it has been used, has not been developed for, but they adopted it. The Rangers actually adopted it.
The reason why they made it and for who or for what kind of purpose, it's some kind of clear and not clear. You know, some versions say this and some versions that. But what we know about this rifle, which is a Winchester Model 92, made in 1892, this one in 4440, that I know of, it's been made by Winchester at the demand of U.S. cavalry to use the same ammo as they use in their revolver.
Handgun, exactly. Handgun. You remember Dancing with the Wolf, Kevin Costner? This is like the weapons that Rangers were using to protect themselves in outposts.
Yep, yeah.
Exactly.
And this model and the 94 model, which is way more popular due to the amount of
The
rifle.
30-30.
The old
other
30-30.
family, every other hunting family has a 30-30 and a 30 out of 6.
Yep, but those rifles were given to the cavalry, then passed on to American soldiers during the First War. Then, at the beginning of the Second War, they had the Garand, they had some other service rifle, but the Model 94 was given to Canadian Ranger to protect the Pacific shore in case of a Japanese invasion.
US.
Yeah, they were given by the U.S. to Canadian, and they were used as a service rifle, which is putting it into some kind of a weird space. The two others, Martin.
Yeah, this is where we cut the line. If we refer to what Prime Minister Trudeau says, and again, we're not pointing at rifles to be put in, we are telling that are suitable for hunting and legitimate firearms. But when we refer to that, we want to ban assault weapon, that is a term that doesn't exist, and we want to ban weapons that have been made and used by military. We have a nonsense here, as all the weapons we presented at first are still non-prohibited weapon. The two next one that were developed at very first for hunting purposes,
small game hunting,
and are presented in sports shooting, are the two only one on that table that doesn't rely in any way to military purposes, and they are the two only one on the table that are on that ban list. They are now prohibited weapons.
Yeah, you're all familiar with the Mini 14. I'll take it. This is a Ruger Mini 14. Everybody knows about that. It's been used, not this one, of course, but this same model, or a bit earlier model, but a Ruger Mini 14 was used during the massacre of Polytechnic, which is, like, my personal view, and yours also, I think, was a nonsense and should have never happened.
Never. This is terrible, and we are all behind.
We all agree with
family.
That. The thing is, this rifle is mine, and I use it to hunt. I used it to hunt coyotes and fox during the winter time with hunting dogs.
Yep.
And from time to time, my wife likes to come along with me at the range and shoot a couple rounds. In the paper, I mean, there's no recoils and everything. Well, you all know the Mini 14. This rifle was developed by Ruger. This model was developed by Ruger after the Second World War, after Vietnam War, sorry. A lot of veterans have used the M14 and the
M1.
M1 less, but M14 during Vietnam, and M16, which would come in the discussion a bit later on. And they all like the lightness of the round, the recoil and everything. And some of them, lots of them actually, were farmers and were ranchers and everything. They had cattle to protect from fox, wolves, coyotes. There was a plague of groundhog, gophers and whatever. So that made holes, and everybody knows that if a cattle walks in groundhog holes, if it breaks a leg, you lose money. So ranchers and farmers ask for a small rifle, not too long rifle, capable of taking care of those gains, and not to be actually user friendly. I mean, Rugers like Garand, like the M14, are very, very user-friendly when it comes to cleaning.
But has been developed for that purpose
at the demand of the hunting communities, the farmers communities.
I mean, it's not different from any other semi-auto mechanism that we have in hunting.
It's actually the exact same mode of operation mode as a Remington 760, or not 760 but 740, and some, all the semi-autos work pretty much the same. It's the bullet goes down the barrel, and at one point there's a small hole that picked up some gas, okay, then push a piston rod here that make the ejection of the ammo and feed another one in the chamber if there's some left in the magazine.
Other point is that the caliber here is 223.
Yep.
223 is not a suitable caliber provided by a law to hunt big games.
You're not allowed to hunt big games with a caliber under 6mm, which is the thing with this one. Yep. This is a 5.56. So
5.56 NATO, which is 223 civilian.
Yeah. So it's not allowed to hunt big games with that. So when Prime Minister says nobody needs an AR-15 to shoot a deer, I mean, sorry, Mr. Prime Minister, but just please check your
own firearm legislation.
Your own hunting legislation.
And this is the point of all that. What we're pointing at is the nonsense. Prime Minister says you don't need an AR-15 to hunt deer. Canadians don't need an AR-15 to hunt deer. We were never allowed since 1977, I think so, to actually hunt. I think it became under restricted in 77 or 94, 95.
94, 95. I had some souvenirs way back then because I've been hunting for a long time. Long time. Many of your viewers weren't even born and I was already hunting. I killed my first deer, I was 12. So, with a bow, by the way, because I wasn't strong enough to hold a 22. Time change. But the thing is, in 94 or 95, there was a first bunch of weapons that were sent to either non-restricted to restricted or directly from non-restricted to prohibited.
Yeah.
And I have to agree, it was kind of, it makes sense at the time.
Yeah.
And of course we were allowed back then to have 10 or 20 rounds magazine for the Mini 14, AR-15 kind of. Well, actually, back then there was like Colt that was making an AR-15 and that's it.
Yeah.
But the point is, this one, give it to me.
Yep.
This rifle that was designed based on a AR-15 platform.
By the way, it doesn't look like that at first. This is pretty much modernized. It is modern firearms.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of things on this that are frightening that weren't on the first model, like in 1959 when Armalite AR doesn't fit for automatic rifle or assault rifle. It is Armalite Rifle Model 15, developed for farmers because it was a compact one that could put in the truck and actually shoot at predator. So fox,
and some
coyotes
states,
and
some county and everything, because in the U.S. it's way different than here in Canada. In Canada, you're not allowed to have a magazine with one round put in the mag well. It will be considered a loaded weapon. In the U.S. it's a bit different. But let's keep it to Canada. In Canada, this weapon, when it came into Canada as the Colt AR-15 or look-alike, based on, it was never allowed to hunt with it. Never. Well, actually, never allowed to hunt big games. Okay, it was a small game only. I had some souvenir that one of the guys that hunt with us had one, but never killed nothing with it. Whatever. But the thing is, this type of firearms is made for civilian sport shooting use only. It is impossible without breaking the law to turn this rifle into a full automatic one.
Oh, law, the first, and secondly,
so the law-abiding citizen, the law-abiding sport shooters, okay, are not into that kind of transformation to pick up 5 or 10 years of jail because they wanted to have a full auto burst mode on their weapon. Those things cost quite a few bucks, you know. So, and inside the companies, all the companies, inside those low receiver there's stuff that prevent law-abiding citizens, I have to say, people who follow the law, to transform it into full auto. It's just impossible. You have to do plenty of operation, which is illegal, to transform it. And the AR-15 at first, like you said, in 59, were made for farmers and ranchers again. Yep. And some general from the U.S. Army saw one at the range, a CV range. He was on weekend and everything. He saw that, checked it out, and at some point, he had some weight in the balance for a new rifle for Vietnam.
Yep.
And he liked that one, the way it feels and everything, and they used it. But basically, AR-15 were never, ever, ever designed. Some law enforcement agency used this one, AR-15 or even Mini-14, as a backup gun in the trunk of the truck.
Don't mistake.
Some of them, but not all of them.
Police officer have the choice between a shotgun and an AR-15.
And they choose the AR-15.
Yeah, they
because,
have it in the trunk.
Because the way they can hold it and they can use it in a safety manner.
Yeah.
Okay, so Martin, basically, here's the thing. All those guns with the wood, okay, except this one, which is half and half, okay, but not half and half wood, but half and half designed for. But those five first rifle here were made, designed, taught, and given to soldiers, for soldiers to go at war.
Yep.
This one was in the market, kind of, but was pushed to service, then out of service. It's an iconic rifle, and there's a lot of legends around it and everything. This one, Mini-14, Rugers, by the way, Martin, Rugers, the day after that tragedy occurred at the Polytechnic, where young ladies died, were murdered.
Yeah.
Okay. They recalled all the mags that were over 5 rounds that fits on Ruger Mini-14.
Even before the legislation changed.
They recalled it. Okay. Canadian government didn't prohibited the use of over 5 rounds at the time.
At the time.
Yeah. Let's put it that way. Okay. The next day.
Yep.
Ruger gave the call to Canadian rep.
Vendors. Yeah.
Canadian rep. That Canadian rep gives a call to all his dealers saying, hey, guys, everything that can load more than 5 rounds in our mags for the Mini-14, I want them back now. Yep. Now. Okay, so if you had one at home, you were fine. But if you were looking for one, you were screwed.
No more.
Okay, and Ruger cut them and lost some money maybe, but still, they were aware that what just happened, and they made it clear that they wouldn't have any kind of responsibility, part of it or whatever. They were freaking upset about that one of their guns of their model were used to kill people, massacre young ladies.
Yeah, I can now.
Yeah, on the spot. Okay, so that's the 5-round mag. That's the story of the 5-round mags from Ruger. And then later on in 94, 95, there was that first strike of ban that which most of hunters and most of your viewers, Martin,
were okay with it.
They were born with it. I mean, and stuff works. So my question is right now, why are we still, and why do a young man or a young woman, because don't forget it, there's a lot of ladies into the sport shooting and department. And hunting more and more and more, and it's fun. I like to go hunting with my wife. Yeah, she kills big birds and stuff, and why not? But I mean, why do we still have to pay the price on something that happened almost 31 years ago, made by somebody who wasn't fit in his brain?
Mental illness.
Yeah, I mean, he could have taken any kind of rifle, a knife, or whatever. He could have taken gasoline and a lighter, and that would be it. I mean, it happened to be that model of rifle, but I mean, I have one. I use it responsibly. If I do something bad with it, I'm paying for it.
This is what we need to reinforce.
Yeah.
The point of that video was showing that there is no common sense in what have been put forward by Prime Minister Trudeau, trying to sell his words, saying that I don't want another Nova Scotia to happen, so I will ban guns. Well, first thing first, we just arrived to the conclusion that Nova Scotia killer, the guns came from across the border, and the fourth one was the service weapon of the police officer.
That lady, yeah.
So it wouldn't have changed anything. Now, police officers and chief police officers around Canada are telling actually out and loud, it won't change anything as long as guns that we are seizing on criminal scenes comes from across the border or from the criminal part of it, the criminal groups and gangs. Actually, legal owned firearms are not present in the crime scene over Canada. So Prime Minister Trudeau needs first to listen to his police officer. Secondly, they need to put sense. There's a nonsense in putting that much money on a buyback and that much weight in the system to take back the guns that are not doing shit. Instead of taking that money and working with those families who lost some people in the past and those criminal acts and those police officers, and put all that energy and all that money where it can change something on our borders, in our police forces, law enforcement overall, fight crime.
And also the sentence that are
criminal
given.
charges.
A criminal, a gang member, a gang-related member, whatever the kind of criminal it is, if he uses a firearms to commit a crime, pretty much, I mean, it's 99.99% of the time, it's an illegal
Weapon?
It could be illegal to use gun in Canada, but it's been acquired,
Well, a police officer says
he's in possession of a firearms that...
For sure, 70... Well, Bill Blair,
Yeah.
when he was Toronto's police chief, said on air that 70% of the gun his police were seizing on crime scene were coming across the border. The other 30%, they could not trace it.
Oh yeah, they were stolen or anything.
Exactly.
But I mean, it's been many years. That debate about no guns or some guns or whatever, all the guns, it's fighting like it is like Montreal Canadian against Quebec Nordique back in those days. I mean, we all want the same thing, but it seems like we disagree on some stuff. If you want to be more safe, don't remove me my gun. Make sure that those criminals cannot come across the border with guns and come here to jack me up. I mean,
in the entire history of Canada, criminal history, legally owned guns are present in, listen, 0.001% of the crime scenes. Over history in Canada. All the police officers are telling 100% sure when we seize a gun on the crime scene, it comes across the border or from the criminal gangs.
Yeah. Stop the black market, close the border on guns, on illegal guns. I mean, hear me out. Close the border on illegal guns, gun smugglers, and stuff like that. All the criminals that brings guns into the end of gang-related member. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, well, take my money, take it, but give it to law enforcement. We will work the same way those family wants to work. We will work the same way police officers wants to work. We will work the same way as only one person actually doesn't want to work, and his name, oh well, two person. Their name are Justin Trudeau and Bill Blair. This is the point.
Martin,
Yep,
was nice to meet you,
absolutely.
and I hope you learned something today.
Yeah. I want that gun.
Talk to the wife.